long have you been in the comedy business now?
Years, about 12 years I've been doing it since my first gig. Yes, I started. I came to it quite late actually compared to most people. There's only people who started now at 18, 19, 20, and I remember going to, I didn't start till I was 27, and I literally I didn't even think about it till I was 27, and I used to, I was used to go to comedy shows and think, oh, I could never do that, and something suddenly clicked, and I went, oh, this is really important. I was an actor, so and I still am, but just I've hardly got any time to do anything now. But yeah, I'm not one of these people. I was talking to, Adam Bloom, who I was talking to him about this weekend. He's felt like he was a comic since he was 10. I used to do funny things and I wanted to be a sort of comic actor, but stand-up, being quite a neurotic, I've always thought stand-up was far too frightening for me to consider. And it was just this friend doing a workshop that got me interested. And that friend's since given up.
Hello. Lovely to be here. Slightly stressed because I was nearly late. I did the worst thing that you would never do. Has anybody driven here tonight? No. Oh, you actually did a count before you came in. How amazing. No, because I did. I drove here thinking, I'm going to be quite late, I'll drive home again, and never, ever drive into London. You've got this. I was sitting in traffic today going stop, start, stop, stop, thinking, I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late for a TV record. I'm going to absolutely be totally late. I'm so fucked up. I'm so late, I could kill someone. I'm thinking, I could kill someone, and there's people in the world who want to die. There must be a way of getting us together. If you could just phone a number and say, hi, suicide line, meet me in central London, 10 minutes. Turn up, guy going, hi, suicide, get the fuck off! Sorry if I'm not taking the piss out of suicidal people, if there are any in, coming out for your last laugh. People are horrible to suicidal people. My mum said, I think suicide's just very selfish. Do you think suicidal people are kind of tough enough on themselves already without being told they're selfish? If you were in a skyscraper and somebody was standing on the window ledge about to jump, would you open the window to go, it's all me with you, isn't it? That's told him.
I remember walking around building up to that first gig and going, I'm just trying to prove something to myself by doing my first gig. I'm just trying to get over this fear. Because even though if I was a performer, I was an actor, but I was still quite the idea of an audience being able to come back at you and the whole thing of dealing with heckling and living on these laughs where you just, if you don't get laughs, it's very, very embarrassing. Sorry, what was I talking about this first gig? Yeah, so I always said to everybody, yes, if I get through that first gig, yeah, I'll have proved something to myself, and I will, I'll be a much more cool together person. But secretly, in my heart of hearts, I was always thinking, I like this, and if this goes well, from the first gig, I walked off going, this is it. This is a future. I was very, I think compared to most new acts, I was pretty determined to go, I know if I work at this, I can make a living from it. So, and I think, so I think I always was pretty sure about it. But it was weird, that first gig, because I broke through this fear of dealing with public speaking, people shouting at me. I got incredibly brave. And in that 6 months after that gig, I stepped into 2 fights in the street. I did things that I had this sort of, it was very psychological, it was very emotional for me doing stand-up for the first time. It was very like, I've conquered this fear, and I'm, luckily I didn't get hurt in the fights in the street, because I don't know why I stepped into them. I could have been very seriously injured.
So did you get heckled in your first gig?
No. I mean, first gigs, I got heckled about my 5th gig. I mean, when you start out, a lot of audiences are very kind, so that first gig actually was quite kind audiences. But, I've always been surprised by my response to heckling, because that's what, you're so worried about it. And actually, the hardest thing is keeping your cool, I find. I've got quite a big ego, I discovered, from somebody heckles me, I'm like, oh right, you really think you're going to play, do you? You really think you're going to jump in on my show? So I've always found the hardest thing has been keeping my cool, rather than shrinking and going, oh, I don't know what to do. So, yeah, it's...
So have you changed a lot in the way you perform since that first gig?
Yes, I think as I've got older, I've got a lot more lot less needy. I think if you go down the comedy store on a Thursday night, I'd say, when it's really is new acts, or you go to see a new act night and you see somebody closing who's a professional act, there's a different attitude. I think new acts walk on going, let me please you. There's almost a neediness, and I definitely do walk on with. I've definitely changed from being that sort of needy, sort of, oh, please laugh at me, and I used to stand there sort of. I used to have my hand would shake so much. I had to put the mic on my chest, so I was terribly like this and all smiley and lovely, and I don't want to be, just laugh at me. And I think I'm a little less like that now, a little less needy, a little bit more. I know I'm funny, and you're going to laugh at me, and you're wrong if you don't. I mean, that's not what I sincerely believe. That's not my ethos on I'm brilliant. But you have to have that thing behind you, I think, as a comic. On the big, like playing the Comedy Store, late show, Saturday night, whatever, you have to have that attitude of, I know I'm funny, and if you laugh or not, it's not a big deal. It's kind of that thing of pretending you don't care, which of course you do, because everybody's dying for the attention and goes home in tears if it goes badly.
My mum's convinced I'm gay. God knows why. I'm not, honestly. I'm married. It's just a voice. Doesn't go with my body, does it? I've got the body of like a sloppy blokey bloke and the voice of a beautiful little camp man. I can't help thinking there's a beautiful little camp man out there somewhere with the voice I should have had. Mincing about, going, all right. You looking for trouble? Do you want to slap?
So, presumably the material you did has evolved quite a lot. So when you first started, were you doing the same kind of material?
Yes, I was. Well, pretty soon from starting, I used to do lots of stuff on not being very manly, which I do masses on now. I got heckled so much. So many of the stuff I do about people thinking I'm gay is totally based on doing stand-up, because I got heckled from. I can't. It woke me up to homophobia in late 90s Britain, and because you literally, if you don't say anything about it, people want to know. It's like, well, could you clarify your sexuality? And I didn't think I had to, so that's something that's become a big part of my act, literally because audiences are, they're waiting to get in if you don't mention it. Also, when your life changes, obviously you do, having wife and kids. When I started out, I was single, and I was very much the sort of single desperate act, being very, going on about being alone. And now I'm going on about being, not a good enough father or husband. Or, so yeah, as soon as your life changes, it's, someone said, I was saying to someone, I'm having difficulty writing material at the moment. This other day, they went, get divorced, and you'll get new material. It's like, so literally, it's your life, you just respond to life, and the bigger the life changes you have, the easier it is to write material. But having said that, it's always, it's funny with comedy, because you can't, it's not a good idea to shut yourself in a room for a year and go, I'm going to write the most brilliant show ever. You have to go out and things come to you from life, and that's where the best stuff happens. So you have to live a bit. You have to, make sure you do take time off and go away and have experiences and socialise, and because it's all from that you gain material.
I get fed up with terrorism, though. Terrorism does a bad thing. It gives religion a very bad name. And I am slightly religious. I am. I go to church. I know you all got a bit quiet and tense. That's all going to drop down. Big cross in the middle. No one leaves till we're saved. We're on the religious channel. Saved, praise be. But no, we're not. But I am. I go to church a couple of times a month, and I wasn't religious. My kids were born, and I got very spiritual. When my little kids were born, I got really quite spiritual when they were born, and I realised there was a brilliant church school down the road. We've got our own prayers. We're so shallow. Our road, we all file into the back of the church. Go, dear Lord, please deliver us from the nasty secular primary. But lead us not the temptation of going private, for thine is the church school, top of the Ofsted reports, forever and ever. Amen. Our road is so shallow, if they built a massive great school on our road called the Al-Qaeda Terrorist Faith Primary School, but the Ofsted results and the SATs were off the scale, there'd be middle-class mums standing outside in full burqas going, Sarah, is that you? Yes, it is, Jane. Little Jack did so well at Taliban tots, and Daisy's taking flying lessons, we're so proud. You'd have suicide bombers releasing videos with bombs all round. I don't really believe in this, I just want Toby to go to Oxford. Is that...
Because when you were coming up, presumably there were sort of influences you had around you, because obviously because you came to it quite late. Were you a big comedy fan when you were younger?
I was, yeah. I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking, God, am I not? Do I listen to people? I thought, yes, I did listen to people. I did. I loved like comedy albums, like Billy Connolly and Jasper Carrott. I loved as a kid. And I loved that. It was that sort of time when because I was when I was sort of teenager, sort of late 80s. And Comic Relief first happened about 86. I think I bought a Lenny Henry album and all that. All people who seen as a bit naff actually were really good at the time. And Lenny Henry was great as well. So yeah, I was a pretty big fan. But there's people I'd never heard of when I started doing comedy, like Bill Hicks, who, I completely discovered him. And Eddie Izzard I'd heard of but hadn't really seen until I started doing comedy, and then he became massive to me. I thought, God, if he can do it, if a man wearing makeup, because I was worried about being a bit soft and a bit middle class, because I kind of saw stand-ups as Mark Thomas. I sort of saw a little bit of, okay, all right, yeah, this is for the Dockers. Do you know what I mean? And I felt, not that there's nothing wrong, I'm for the Dockers as well. This is a long time ago. But sorry, one of my worries about the way about the people governing this country at the moment is my terror that society is going to turn against all posh people and gigs are going to become impossible for me. I'm not with the Tories. But I did think comedy was a bit, Mark Steele and a little bit sort of street cred guys, and watching Eddie Izzard, I went, God, if he can... And it was the fact he did it so shamelessly. He was like... He had that thing of, you're coming with me, I'm not going to try and please you. And yeah, I'm in the dress, oh yes, I'm wearing makeup, and I'm not going to mention it for this show. I'm not going to, And I know that joke didn't go so well, and the fact he was so brave. When I met him, I was really overcome with... I've never met anybody who's done the embarrassing, you're the reason I got into this.
I tell you what, having quite a posh voice, it's a rubbish voice for being aggressive. Notice that? Get like Cockney accent, you can say things like, come on then, you wanker! Or like Northern accent, Yorkshire accent, you can say something like, I'm gonna bloody do ya. Then my accent's like, I'm going to bash you up. Or write a very strongly worded letter to the Times. The only time an accent like mine actually sounds threatening is when it belongs to a Bond villain. So that Bond villains are either foreign or they're English posh. Never seem to be regional English. You never seem to get a Cockney Bond villain going, hey, Bond, you cheeky git, this is my manor. Or a Yorkshire Bond villain. Have you spotted the only accents I can do, by the way? Or a Yorkshire Bond villain going, what you drinking, Bond? Martini, you bloody puff, you'll have a pint. See, it sounds silly. So my point is, if you are posh, and do we have a lot of posh people here, or is it... No, telly, a lot of coach parties. If you are posh and you get into a confrontation, don't do that thing that posh people do. Don't change your accent to sound tougher. Instead, stay posh, think Bond villain. Okay, you're in a bar, someone says to you something like, you spilt my pint. Don't go, all right, mate, I'll buy you another. Instead, go, I hardly care. By midnight, the world will be mine. What, you expect me to buy my own drink? No, I expect you to die.